Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faris Ikhwan bin Othman, and my metric number is 2114835, and we are from Kuliah of Information and Technology, which is KICT, from the semester 1 2021 and 2022, and the course we are taking Info 1303 Database System. So without wasting much time, I will proceed to the next slide. Okay. I will begin the introduction of our project first. Okay, our team is working on business scenario, which is ibadah camp management system. Different kuliah will conduct different ibadah camp every year. There will be 4 different modules, and we are from kuliah of ICT, which is KICT, and are assigned for module 4, about the dakwah, fundamental Islamic obligation. The activities available for this module are Tazkirah, Tafsir session, and Forum session. The system will be called Ibadah Care Management System, ICMS. This database application management system will register the information about all the activities, the person in charge for each activity, and students who are involved in the activities. The approval from the centres must be sought before the respective kuliah can be proceed with their ibadah camp. IIT wish to build a database application that will register the organizer, which is the respective kuliah, whether KICT or KOE or any more kuliah, the ibadah camp details, the list of activities plan, and person in charge of their respective activities. A coordinator has been appointed by IIT to take the lead in the development of this system. Some conditions must be met by the database application system. Okay, so I will move on to the next slide. Okay, so I will explain to you about the entities and the attributes, and the first and the uh, main objective of the project. Okay, as we know that the entities is in the database is a container designed to store a delineate information important to the goals of a project. And it is very important to start the project with the entities and attribute. We need to identify it first. So an entity is an object that exists. It doesn't have to do anything. It just has to exist. In database administration, an entity can be single thing, person, place, or even subject. Data can be stored about such entities. Okay, so here we can see the entities we can see from the slide that I prepared. The first one is kuliah, and the second entities is the IC, and the third one is activities, and the fourth one is student, and the last one is feedbacks. Okay, and it's all about the entities. So we move on to the attributes. Okay, the an attribute define the information about the entity that need to be stored. If the entity is an employer, attribute could include name, employee ID, and something more about the employers. Okay, so here we can see about the kuliah first. The attribute for the kuliah is kuliah name itself, the total of the student, the ibadah module. Okay, for the next one, PIC. The attribute for the PIC is metric number, first name, last name, age, sex, and phone number. And the third one is activities, and the attribute for it is name, status, date, and fund date. And the fourth one is student, and its attribute is kuliah, total student, ibadah module. And the last one, the attribute for feedback is kuliah, ibadah module, and score. Okay, so that's all about the entities and the attribute. But we also need to know about the primary and foreign key. Actually, when we are making the entity attribute, we can already make some tables. Okay, and the table are actually related to other tables with a primary key or foreign key relationship. Primary and foreign key relationship are used in the relational database to define many-to-one relationship between the tables. The primary key or the foreign key relationship between tables in the star or conflict scheme, sometimes called many-to-one relationship, represent the path along which is related table are joined together in database system. So it's like connected to each other. Okay. For the primary key, a primary key is a column or a set of columns in the table whose value uniquely identify a row in the table. A relational database is defined to enforce the uniqueness of primary keys by allowing only one row with a given primary key value in the table. Okay, that's for primary key, and the next one is the foreign key. Foreign keys. A foreign key is a column or a set of columns in a table whose value corresponds to the values of the primary key in the table. In order to add a row with a given foreign key value, there must be exist a row in the related table with the same primary key value. Okay, I think that's all for me. Next, I will pass to the another our my group mate to explain to you about details about this project. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. So my name is Muhammad Asyraf bin Muhammad Radzi. Matrix numbers 2110473. And today I will present about the SQL script, which is for our group project activities. And first of all, for our SQL, firstly we drop the table that we about to create because we want to ensure that there is no others table that have the same name as we about to create. So first we drop the table names, then drop the table this. So basically we have 5 tables for our group project, which is we have kuliah, PIC, activities, students, and the feedback. Okay, now all the table have been dropped. So we create tables first, which is create table kuliah. Okay, table created. Then we insert the values. For the kuliah, we decided to use only for kuliah. Okay, now values insert. Now I want to display the values that we just insert. There we goes. We have kuliah name, total student of the kuliah, each kuliah, and the ibadah module that each kuliah to needs to do. And then for the second, we create table PIC, which is the table for person in charge. Okay, table created. Set the values. For this table, we decided to have 3% only, which is 1% for one activities. Okay, now we have for the PIC table, which is we have metric numbers, name of the PIC, their age, phone number, sets, and the activity that are about to handle. For the third table, we have the activities table. Okay, table created. Then we insert for KICT, which is according to the question. We take the module 4, and in module 4 we have 3 activities, which is the activities is Tazkira, Tafsir, and forum activities. Okay, now for the fourth table, we have the table students. Okay, table created. Students is the table for the student who involved in each activity, and we take for this about 10 students, including male and female. Okay, some of them join the same activities, and some of them may join different. Up to them which one they want to join. Yes, all the values are set. Then we want to see the table just now. Now we have 10 rows written. It means that we have 10% in this table from the kuliah and the activities they are joined. For the last one, you have the table feedback. Okay, insert the feedback. We set the values. Alright, now all the values have inserted. Okay, for the feedback tables, we have the column for kuliah name, ibadah module, and the score that they get for the ibadah camp. You can see that the highest score is from the IRK kuliah, which is 9 score. Then if you want to see about the data type of the tables, we can use these queries, which is describe kuliah. Then there we go, we have the data type for each column that we just create. And also ada information about the nullable of the column. Let's cut PIC. And we have the number for the metric numbers. Name with baca and get this information for the students. Yes. Then describe feedback. And the last one we have describe activities. Okay. Now this is our example of the SQL script for our group project activities. That's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Danial bin Muhammad Zahri. So now let's continue with the SQL queries. Okay, so for the first query we have right here, let's say we want to have the metric number, student name, age and kuliah from the student table. But we want the student name from the female only. We don't want the male. So what we have to do, we just have to put select metric number, student name, age and kuliah from student where sex is female. So when we do this, the student name will only the table will only output is female only. So male will not appear in this table. Okay, so let's just continue to the next queries. So for the second table queries we have, let's say we want the information from the feedback table, but we want the score from the feedback table in the descending order, which from the highest to the lowest. So the query is like this: select kuliah name, ibadah module, score from feedback table. Okay, so we have to call with the is descending from the score by order by score DESC descending order. So as we can see right here, our score is range from descending order 9, 8, 7. So the kuliah name also from the highest to the lowest. Okay, so let's continue to the next queries. So for number 3, third queries we have here. Let's say we want to have the join table with from the kuliah table also with the feedback table. Okay, so we want the kuliah name, we want ibadah module, we want total number of student, but in the kuliah table we don't have a score in ibadah module. Don't have the score, but right now we want the score. So we have to make the outer join. Whereas by with these queries, we have to join the table. Okay, so select k.kuliah dot ni name ibadah module total student score ibadah module from kuliah K. We have to call this to make like this K dot kuliah name, which mean like kuliah name from the K table kuliah. Okay, same like the feedback F. So where we want make sure it's same with the not to make sure the information is not mess. So we have to put like this where ibadah module from the kuliah table is equal to ibadah module from the feedback table. Okay. Next. The fourth queries we have. Let's say we want have the activity. We want to know the activity and we want to know how many students get involved in the certain activity. So do queries like this. Select activity. We have to count. We have count. What we want to count is we want to count the sex. How many students that have take part in the certain activity. So select activity. Count. We take over the sex. We put the name count as a student as students from student table. So we group by activity. So we get the output like this. So next. Okay, so the last queries we have right here, we also want to make a join table where we select metric number, name, and sex from the person in charge table, program date and activity from program date from the activity table, activity from the person in charge person in charge table. So where the activity from the we have to make sure it is same like before. So activity from the person in charge table is equal to activity name from the activity table. So after we put this queries, we have this kind of table. So I think that's all for me. So let's continue with the next presenter. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Farhan bin Muhammad Noorshahran. My metric number is 2113563 and I'm from section 5. Today I will be presenting about our project's entity relationship diagram. An ER diagram is a visual representation of different entities within a system and how they relate to each other. First of all, before creating the ER diagram, we need to identify the entities in the system. Then we need to identify the relationship between the entities. And lastly, we add the attribute for the entities. So in our project, we use 5 different entities. There is a kuliah, PIC, which is the person in charge, and activities, students, and feedback. Each of the entities has their own attributes. So now I will explain our AR diagram, and I will start with the kuliah entities first. So for the kuliah entities, the attributes are the name of the kuliah, the total student, and ibadah module. And for kuliah entities, they have a relationship with 3 different other entities, which are the activities, the students, and the feedback. So I will explain the kuliah and the students relationship first. So for the student relationship, the attributes are metric number, name, age, sex, phone number, kuliah, and activity. So the relationship between the kuliah and student entities for the kuliah is 1-to-1, and for the students is 1-to-many. And this is because one student can only have one kuliah, but one kuliah can have a lot of students. Next, we going to talk about the relationship between the kuliah and the feedback. So for the feedback, the attributes are the kuliah, ibadah module, and score. The relationship between the kuliah and the feedback are both the same, which is the 1-to-many, because the kuliah have a lot of students that will give a lot of feedback, a lot of different feedback. So that is why there is a 1-to-many relationship. So the next relationship is the kuliah and the activities entities. The activities entities, the attributes are name of the activities, status, date, and funding. So for the relationship between activities and kuliah are the same also, which is the 1-to-many for both of them. And this is because they can do one type of kuliah can do a lot of different activities, and the activities can let the other different kuliah join in. So next is I will talk about the student. So the student also have a 3 relationship with 3 different entities. As I mentioned earlier, one is with kuliah, and the others are with activities and feedback. So I will talk about the feedback first. The relationship between the students and the feedbacks are also the same, which is 1-to-1 relationship. It is because a student can only give one feedback per person, And next is the student's relationship with the activities entities. So for the relationship between them are the same again, which is the one to many for both of them, and this is because different kind of student can join any activities that have been conducted. So there's a lot of activities for a lot of students. So next is the activities entities, which have three different entities relationship, which is as I told earlier, the kuliah and the student relationship. But now I will talk about the PIC, which is person in charge. So the person in charge attributes are the metric number, the full name, last name, and age, sex, and phone number. So the relationship between the activities and the PIC are the same also, which is one to one. And this is because the person can only be charged for only one kind of activities. So that is all from me. That is the explanation of our AR diagram. Thank you, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.